Oh, say, can you see? It's midnight, I'm tired as freak. I got my Oreo thins and my water that I keep slamming on the desk. I don't want any more Oreo thins. Equestria. Woo!
Sit and wait for an opportunity to show itself. I have to knock this testimony down now.
That's something that's going to be on the
This
internet
better
forever.
not be a bluff, Miss Sykes.
Of course it isn't, Your
You're
Honor.
stressing me out,
totally is.
Athena.
Shut up, Widget.
Again, just
Talking to
throw
yourself,
Widget in the
Are
trash.
we?
Don't let them distract you, Athena. If Twilight doesn't want to help me, then I'll just have to figure this out by myself. But there aren't any contradictions or flaws. What now?
Scream.
What would Mr. Wright do here? He'd turn his thinking around. Think outside of the box. If I can't cast doubt on the testimony itself, then what if I just cast doubt on the one testifying? Is there a way to do that?
Miss
Sakura wouldn't
Sykes,
kill
I've
anybody.
had enough of you wasting this court's time. Present your rebuttal, or let us move on.
Yes, Your Honor. Here goes nothing. So, actually, the previous testimony didn't have any noticeable contradictions in it.
What? But is that not what we've been saying this whole time?
Yes, but, well, what if we think about this another way?
Another way?
Another way.
According
Aw.
to the testimony, Zecora saw Scootaloo and Turning Page headed towards the crime scene. She heard a noise and headed there herself. On the way, she came across the two running away from the scene, and shortly afterwards, she arrived on the site.
And right there, she found the dead body of one royal order. I see no point in us repeating all of this.
Well, let's think about that last point for a minute. As we established earlier, the victim suffered both a blow to the side and a stab to the head. What's
Naturally.
more, we know for a fact that after the victim was knocked to the ground, he managed to get back up again.
I
Quite
will
so.
get back up
Our
again.
current theory is that Turning Page was the one who hit him, using his sword. However, if he was killed right at that moment, the stab wound would be on the opposite side of his head. Therefore, he must have had an opportunity to stand upright before being stabbed and falling over again.
Right. But as was pointed out earlier, Scootaloo could not have been the one to inflict the fatal wound. She can't fly, so she wouldn't have been able to stab Royal Order in the head after he stood up.
Which
Yes.
leads us to the conclusion that it must have been Turning Page. He used his magic to stab the victim with the scooter. There wasn't anyone else on the scene who could have done it, after all.
This
But
is
what
it.
if there was?
Now's my chance. I may not personally believe what I'm about to say, but I don't have a choice now. My
Damitia and
hand's been
Silver Spoon?
forced. But there was someone on the scene.
It was me!
After Scootaloo and Turning Page fled, someone else arrived and had the perfect opportunity to murder the victim.
It was me the whole
Yes.
time.
Wait. You aren't saying...
Defense?
Let's assume that Turning Page really did hit his father, and he fell to the ground. Now, at that point, who's to say Scootaloo and Turning didn't flee right then, without killing him?
Then that would mean the one who showed up on the scene after they left would have...
Exactly. Given
Who?
this scenario,
Please,
it's
please.
entirely possible that our
Oh,
witness,
okay,
Miss
yeah.
Zecora, is Royal Order's true killer. What?
I mean.
Order! Order in the court!
I mean.
Are you saying that her whole testimony was one giant lie made
Ooh,
to
this
cover
music.
up her
Ooh.
crime?
Not necessarily everything. Just the part where she claimed to have stumbled across the
Oh,
dead
this
body.
music!
The defense believes that, instead of finding Royal Order dead, Zecora came across him as he was getting up. She then took the scooter that was left on the scene and stabbed him in the head. Afterwards, she reported the body to the police, claiming he was already dead
Dare
when she
you
found
even
him.
talk about the wagon?
That is a ridiculous accusation! What could possibly be my motivation?
Yeah.
Turning and Scootaloo don't have motives either. Is it really that much of a stretch to suspect you as well?
Fair point.
Your Honor, I may not have any evidence to back up this claim, but you can't deny it is a possibility. As such, we shouldn't take stock in any of this witness's testimony.
It's true. The yellow attorney brings up a good point.
The yellow attorney.
We're really
We have Blue Phoenix and Yellow
Dunno,
Attorney.
But hey, if she's right, that means those two kids are innocent.
Oh my god, I just now understand why Luna is calling Athena Yellow Golden Pixie. It's because she calls Phoenix Ray Blue Phoenix. Oh, again, I'm so freaking tired. My brain is not here, man. It's whoa. I paused at the right time.
You naive child!
Child?
Oh, it's getting. Oh,
Prosecutor
she's going
Luna,
crazy now.
please. There'll be no insults in my courtroom.
For one who knows not the weight of her words, I
Whoa!
can't think of a better comparison.
Hey! What gives? I was just...
You attempt to cast doubt on the witness in order to save your own clients. Yet, to do so, you accuse her of committing the crime herself.
Well, what else
Damn.
was I supposed to do? That testimony...
Was not at all conclusive.
Oh.
The witness never saw who the killer was. She didn't even clearly see who was running away from the scene.
That's what you and your Honor
Athena,
are assuming.
no.
And it's your job to point out why that assumption is flawed, and demand further evidence and testimony for the prosecution to support their case.
Dude,
But instead of doing that, you have openly accused this witness. You have dirtied not just her name, but if you're wrong, yours as well. And you, ponies of the gallery, you who would be so quick to suspect this poor creature on
I
nothing
wasn't
but a
quick.
baseless theory.
Am I special?
Shame on you
I'm kidding.
all. Is this the kind
Wow.
of harmony Equestria seeks to share with the world?
Wow.
Order! Order!
I will like a
That's
wow.
enough, Prosecutor Luna. Make one more disparaging remark towards Miss Sykes or the gallery, and I'll have you held in contempt of court.
Oh, you don't want to say that to Luna.
My
it's
apologies,
just-
Your Honor.
Okay, she's coming.
Say what you want, Prosecutor Luna. But my...
Dude, I find it so interesting that Luna is like doing her job, but also kind of just trying to help out Athena as well. And like, oh, that is so cool.
theory doesn't contradict any of the evidence or testimony presented in this trial. As long as that remains true, I'm free to continue asserting it.
Very well. If that's the path you choose, so be it. I wonder if your co-counsel feels the same way.
Oh no, Twilight, no.
I'm sorry, Twilight, but it's too late for me to back down.
Nevertheless, you shan't be relying on that theory for much longer. If I can't convince you to simply abandon it, then I'll just
She
force
loves-
you to go against
She loves slamming those desks.
What do you mean? Uh-oh. I don't like the sound of this.
You mentioned motive a minute ago, did you not? The motive that Scootaloo and Turning Page lack? It's about time we discussed that, don't you think? So bring out that letter you received yesterday.
Oh no.
Letter?
The blackmail letter.
Oh.
I know you have it. Show it to the court. Now.
Darn it.
Ah. Look.
What does she know about the blackmail? Did Scootaloo or Turning tell her?
Defense?
Luna's crazy,
What's this
man.
about a blackmail letter?
Your Honor, it's this right here. Scootaloo and her friends, the Cutie Mark Crusaders, received it yesterday afternoon. Their scooter, wagon, and capes were all stolen by some pony. To get them back, they'd have to bring the blackmailer a roll of golden silk.
Those items all sound familiar.
Do they
They
now?
should, Your Honor. All of these items were accounted for at the crime scene.
You're right. But why would that be?
Read the letter yourself, and I'm sure you'll figure it out.
Blank flanks.
Oh,
Blank
the
flanks.
location of the blackmail. It's the same place where the murder occurred.
Blank flanks.
Precisely, Your Honor. Now, we finally know why the defendants were in the forest in the first place. They went to settle this deal with their blackmailer.
I see. And I guess this would mean Turning Page is a member of these cutie mock crusaders?
No,
Not
maybe
exactly,
actually,
Your Honor. The two
maybe
had met
so
for the first time
eventually.
earlier that day. They became quick friends over the course of an afternoon.
But then, why did Mr. Page get involved with the blackmail?
During her
He's a good friend.
interrogation, the defendant, Scootaloo, mentioned that she was backed into a corner when her friends decided against following the orders
My
they
water
were
fell
given.
down.
She decided, instead, to ask her newfound friend, Turning Page, to help her retrieve what had been taken. The two conspired to break into and steal from Carousel
The bank.
Boutique in order to acquire the golden silk the blackmailer asked for.
These two kids broke into a store?
The bank.
Oh, this doesn't look good.
After acquiring the fabric, they proceeded to enter the forest and made their way to the scene where the blackmailer was waiting.
And this blackmailer, who were they?
Hi, it was
I
me.
can answer that, Your Honor. The defense believes they were two fillies named Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon.
Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon?
You know, the two
An
jerks
infamous
that
pair
are
of
down the
bullies
block.
whom the Crusaders are unfortunately well acquainted with. They constantly harass the group for not having their cutie marks yet, calling them names like Blank Flanks.
Blank flanks is on the letters.
How awful! Let me speak with them.
Yeah, let the
No
judge speak
bullying
to
on
him.
my watch.
Yeah.
Pretty content watching me get insulted, though. There's
That's
more,
not
Your
bullying,
Honor.
though.
You see, yesterday when we spoke to Scootaloo at the detention center, we learned that an altercation between the Crusaders and these bullies occurred on the day of the murder. During that exchange, Turning Page came to their aid and chased the bullies off. This was where Scootaloo and Turning Page first met, and later, spent time getting to know each other.
And I assume this is somehow related to the blackmail letter?
Yes.
Precisely, Your Honor. The two fillies were angry that their encounter with the Crusaders ended with them getting told off, so they blackmailed them in retaliation. If you look at the top of the letter, you'll see that
Yeah,
it begins
there you
with,
go.
"Hey there, Blank Flinks." The only ponies who would address the Crusaders as such are these bullies. This serves as definitive proof that the ponies who wrote the blackmail letter are none other than Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon.
Objection!
Objection? What do you mean objection?
Unfortunately, defense, that is not a wholly concrete possibility.
Huh?
Yeah.
The insult.
Could
Yeah.
easily be a red herring by the author of the note. These fillies are not the only ones who are aware of that particular taunt. After all,
Really? I don't think so. Who else would know about that insult besides Cutie Mark Crusaders, Turning Page, Athena, all the people and the ponies they told, about the bullies and the Blank Flanks, maybe all Ponyville, maybe the whole entire world, me, thousands of viewers, maybe even God himself. But yeah, God himself. Maybe my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, my two friends, the Oreo Thins packet.
if these fillies are as infamous as you say they are, then any pony familiar with them would know that they are fond of the term blank flank. It's hardly proof, defense. Suppose Your Honor began to refer to you as Golden Pixie. Would that make
Blue Phoenix.
him me?
Well, would it, Golden Pixie?
Oh my god.
I very much would not mind being considered a princess, you know.
Or a lord.
I'd rather not answer that, Your Honor.
But now, let us turn our attention to the letter itself. I'm sure everyone can see that this note is written entirely in letters cut out from a magazine. As a result, it is impossible to perform any sort of writing analysis. However, that doesn't mean we can't prove who the—
You know what I've just realized? Athena has been trying to act more like Phoenix Wright and the way she tries to go about this case, but she's not going at it like at a psychological standpoint. She's not playing to her strengths. I've just now realized that. Banger writing decision right there.
The author of this note is.
How?
If we could find the magazines that these letters were cut out from, it'd be a simple matter of matching the cuts on the letters to the holes in the magazines.
Yeah, but we don't have those magazines.
Are you sure about that?
Luna, how'd you get...
I have here two magazines with several letters cut out from many different pages. If the court would be so kind, I'd like to request some time for the police to analyze the letters on the note and the empty spaces in the magazines. If
Lena,
we get
you're
a match,
crazy.
then we'll
Crazy
know
girl.
for a fact that the blackmail letter was written using these magazines.
Very well. The court grants the prosecution's request. Private Eye,
Yes, my lord.
Heh.
please take this letter and these magazines and have an analysis performed. Try to have it done in 30 minutes if you can.
Can.
Certainly.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da.
Prosecutor Luna, have the results come in yet?
Why
They were
yes.
just delivered, Your Honor.
And what's the conclusion?
The letters on the blackmail note match the shape of the cuts in the magazines.
Okay.
I see. So it has been proven how the blackmail letter was written. But I fail to see how this
Where
helps
did you
us,
find the
prosecutor.
magazines?
Rest assured, Your Honor, we did not simply pick those magazines up off the
Okay.
street or find them in a dumpster.
Okay.
You must have found them in either Diamond or Silver's house, right?
The magazines that were used to write the blackmail letter were found in the home of Royal Order.
That freeze frame. Yes. I'm tempted to take a screenshot. Screw it. I'm taking a screenshot. You know, surprisingly, it took me like 4 attempts to get that screenshot. Oh.
Order in the court!
I would like a
Prosecutor
screenshot
Luna,
of a
are you
burger.
saying that the one behind the blackmail was the victim himself?
How?
At the site of the blackmail, it was his body that remained after Scootaloo and Turning Page fled the scene.
That was the
Additionally,
mom.
the magazines used to write the blackmail letter were found in his home. It certainly doesn't look good for him.
I'm getting cold.
Remember the Royal Guard was a blackmailer?
I can't believe it. I won't believe it.
But if you think about it, it does seem to line up. Objection! Prosecutor Luna, you can't seriously be suggesting that Royal Order is the blackmailer.
Yeah, it really
It
doesn't make any sense.
What do you mean by that, Princess Twilight?
Why would he blackmail?
Royal Order was in Canterlot on the
Phillies.
eve of the murder. He would not have been able to steal the Crusaders' belongings, nor send them the blackmail letter. Those events
Why would he
transpired
even
much
blackmail
earlier in the
Phillies?
day.
It doesn't
Unless
make
the
sense.
prosecution can explain how he absconded with the Crusaders' things while in Canterlot, it's impossible for him to be the blackmailer.
Is
Bam.
that so? Well then, Prosecutor Luna, what do you say to that?
I say
The defense
Bubbakiss.
is, of course, correct, Your Honor. Given
Of
the
course.
fact he was in Canterlot when the theft occurred, Royal Order could not be the blackmailer. However, I don't recall ever asserting that he was.
Are you right? She's right.
Miss Sparkle merely assumed that would be my argument, and has
Yep.
seemingly overlooked the
I
fatal
didn't assume.
implication this
Because I'm
evidence actually holds.
special.
What?
Royal Order was not around to set up this whole blackmailing scheme, yet the fact remains that these magazines were discovered in his home.
Could be
This
the
can
mother.
only mean
It
that the
can't be the
perpetrator
mother.
of this blackmailing must be some pony else who lives there. We know for a fact it can't be Turning, given that he went with Scootaloo into the forest to settle the deal. That leaves us with only one other possibility.
The mother?
You don't mean...
Fair devotion.
The perpetrator can only be the
A
victim's
Miss Fair
wife. Miss
devotion.
Fair Devotion.
What?
What?
Order! Order in the court!
I would like nothing this time, actually.
Prosecutor Luna, are you sure? That's the defendant's own mother!
I am, Your Honor,
Yeah.
as much as it pains me to say. But remember, Turning Page was not the target of the blackmail. The Crusaders, and by extension Scootaloo, were. Turning simply accompanied her into the forest. In which case, it's not so unthinkable that his mother could very well have been behind the whole thing.
Yeah, but why? I don't.
This is ridiculous. Why would Miss Devotion want to blackmail the Crusaders?
Because she needed to.
Money? Money? Money?
Needed to?
Are we going to
You
discuss
explained
money?
it to us earlier, Defense, did you not? Turning
Did you?
Page confronted two bullies earlier that day, Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon. He intervened whilst they were harassing the Crusaders. However, you left out the most important detail.
What detail?
That Turning's attack resulted in the fillies' dresses getting ruined. Now tell me, Golden Pixie, what do you suppose happened afterwards?
Afterwards?
There's plenty more to this story than what has been told. Luckily, thanks to our interrogation of Miss Devotion, we are able to shed light on this matter.
Please explain, prosecutor.
According to Fair Devotion, Diamond Tiara's mother, Spoiled Rich, met with
Spoiled
her later
Rich.
that day, after hearing about the incident from her daughter. Those dresses Turning Page dirtied were custom made and quite expensive.
Quite
So, of course,
expensive.
Mrs. Rich was rather upset to hear about what had happened to them. Seeing as how the fault lay with her son, Spoiled demanded that Miss Devotion pay back the money in compensation.
And she agreed to that. Why?
Because friendship
Once
is
again,
magic.
out of necessity. Mrs. Rich happens to be the president of the Ponyville School Board. Miss Devotion feared that, if she didn't agree, Mrs. Rich would ensure that she would never work at the school again.
It's horrible.
That's
But now I'm sure you can see
evil.
why Miss Devotion would need to get her hooves on a great deal of money quickly.
But the blackmail letter didn't ask for money. It asked for the fabric.
Indeed, it
Fabric
did.
could be a lot for a lot of
Now,
money.
Why, Miss Sparkle, would that be the case?
Why? Well, because...
Like I said, it takes a long time to make, and it costs a lot of money.
the fabric would fetch a pretty high price if sold to the right pony?
Exactly. The value of that golden
Exactamundo.
silk was brought up during the fight between the kids. Turning must have overheard what was said and recounted the details to his mother when she confronted him. And that, fillies and gentle colts, is precisely what gave Miss Devotion the idea to blackmail the Cutie Mark Crusaders. She did it in order to pay off Spoiled Rich.
Yeah.
What?
I love
What's even
making
happening
noises.
right now? Luna somehow opened up the possibility that Fair Devotion wrote the blackmail letter.
You've presented a very convincing argument, prosecutor. But there's still one thing that troubles me.
Hot sauce?
And what would that be, Your Honor?
Earlier, you said that you think Royal Order is somehow involved in the blackmail. But it's been proven that he wasn't around to steal the Cutie Mark Crusaders' effects or send the letter. So, how can that be?
There's no big mystery
Existing.
here, Your Honor. It's easy to imagine that Miss Devotion and her husband were working together.
Working together? But I
Hear
thought
that
Mr.
violin.
Order had gone into that forest to look for his son.
So Miss
Wait.
Devotion claims. But the prosecution sees no reason to trust her word anymore. The instant these magazines were matched with this blackmail letter, all of her testimony became highly suspect.
Oh shoot.
You're quite right. The magazines leave little room for doubt in regards to who the blackmailer was.
Which means they also cast doubt on her explanation for Mr. Order's movements. Taking that into account, we must seek another explanation for why he went into the forest. Luckily, there is a rather simple one. Perhaps, as soon as Mr. Order got home, Miss Devotion explained the whole situation to him. Armed with the knowledge of the blackmailing and the fabric roll, he would have left immediately for the castle. That would be the real reason why Royal Order went into the forest that night. He intended to act as the recipient for the blackmail.
But Diamond and Tia were also there.
And thus, we arrive at the heart of the matter. The motive for the murder.
Oh, jeez.
I don't think we could ever truly know what happened at the foot of the bridge that night. However, if Mr. Order was the recipient for the exchange, then we can make a few inferences. It could be as simple as the negotiations going sour.
Sour
Or
Patch Kids?
it could be that learning what his
Sour
father
Patch
was
Kids?
doing infuriated Turning to the point of attacking him. Whichever scenario you choose, the basic facts remain the same. Royal Order was present at the scene of the blackmail and died there, murdered. The only ones who could have done it are the only two who were at the scene at the time, Scootaloo and Turning Page.
Like I
However,
said, I was also
as the
there.
defense has previously demonstrated, it'd be rather difficult for Scootaloo to be involved in this crime, given her inability to fly and the fact that the victim was killed while standing. Therefore, the prosecution is willing to cut the defense a deal here.
What is it?
Concede that Turning Page is guilty of murdering his father, and will be willing to let Scootaloo off without a single charge.
I don't wanna.
The choice is yours, Golden Pixie.
Twilight? Wait, Apple Bloom? Or Turning? Turning!
Your Honor?
Here we go. I predicted this.
Defend me if you must. But just know that if I think things start to look bad, I won't hesitate to confess if it means
Ah,
saving
shoot.
her.
Turning, no. Page Turner?
I have to stop him. Objection! Turning, don't do this! We don't have to give up yet.
Thank you for fighting so hard for us, Miss Sykes.
No, bro, please. You.
This is honestly for the best.
I will knock some sense into you, child.
I promised you both. I'd save the two of you together.
But there's no way you can do that now.
Love always finds a way.
This is
Just tell me one thing, Turning. Who was it that you met at the bridge? Was it really your father?
No.
No.
So I was right then. It was Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon.
Well, yes, it was. But that's...
Ha! See, Luna? The defendant just disproved your...
That's not how it works. Well, my voice just went crack-a-lackin'.
your whole theory. Objection!
Yes, congratulations, my dear Golden Pixie. You can now add perjury to the defendant's list of charges.
Objection!
Perjury? Wait,
Not
what?
if he's telling the truth, Prosecutor Luna.
In that case, defense, let's clear this matter up once and for all, shall we?
Wait, but
Shh. It's all right, Turning Page.
What?
Don't forget what I told you before this all started. You and Scootaloo have nothing to worry about.
Alright, Luna. Alright.
I promise.
Ooh.
Surely, Miss Sykes can promise you the same?
Is she? Yes, she's trying to help them. Of course! That explains all those hints from before.
Let's
And
go.
She got so mad when I used Zakora too.
Let's go.
There's no way I can do this by myself. She wants to help and I need it. Accidenti! I'm never gonna get any better if I keep getting bailed out like this. But I need to do something. Just this once, okay? Just this once. Yes, Prosecutor Luna. I can indeed.
Glad to see we're on the same page, then.
I haven't spoken in a minute.
All right. Go ahead, Miss Sykes.
Thank you, Turning.
I'm not quite sure I understand what just happened.
Then allow me to summarize for you, Your
Oh
Honor.
no, not a
The
summary.
prosecution claims that the orchestrator of the blackmailing
I can't
was
read.
Fair Devotion. We claim this because of the magazines found in her home. These, as previously proven, were used to create the blackmail letter. We also claim that Miss Devotion sent her husband, Royal Order, to the scene for the exchange. He was subsequently killed by one or both of the ponies who arrived to settle the deal, Scootaloo and Turning Page. Meanwhile, the defense claims that the orchestrators of the blackmail were two fillies the Cutie Mark Crusaders had encountered
that's
earlier
because
in
they
the
are.
day. Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon. Their main evidence is what Turning has just said, that the ponies he and Scootaloo met at the bridge that night were, in fact, Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon. Defense, I hardly need to explain to you that testimony from the defendant is not entirely reliable, do I?
You are correct.
Not at all, Prosecutor Luna.
Then, by all means, do prove it to us. Prove that the one the defendants met at the crime scene was not Royal Order, but instead, those two fillies.
If I'm right that she's helping, then I have to believe that the evidence I need has already been shown. Unfortunately,
Smart.
all of the evidence relating to the blackmail seems to point directly at Miss Devotion.
Seems.
In that case, instead of trying to prove who the blackmailer was, I should focus on figuring out everyone's movements that night. If I can show that Royal Order's actions contradict the blackmailers, it should be enough to bring those two fillies to the stand. Prosecutor Luna?
Yes.
I have a question for you. How do you think the victim made it to the scene of the blackmail?
Probably
now
by
we're
using
asking
legs.
the real questions. The prosecution is under the assumption that the victim would have wanted to get there as quickly as possible. Thus, he likely would have teleported as far as we know he could go, the crossroads, and simply walked the rest of the way.
Why not run?
Simple.
Try.
No.
Objection! Unfortunately, Prosecutor Luna, that's not possible.
Why not, defense?
Because I said
Turning?
so.
Scootaloo?
Yes, Miss Sykes?
Remind me once again at what time the two of you entered the forest.
It was around 9:25. I'm pretty sure.
And while you were walking through the forest, did you ever come across anyone?
No.
I don't think so.
Prosecutor Luna, can you remind the court what time the victim left his house?
Wake me up
As we heard
before
from
you
Detective
kill
I's
me.
testimony,
I don't
it
know
was
the
9:30.
lyrics.
And do you know how long it takes to reach the crossroads from the forest entrance?
About 5 minutes.
5
Precisely.
minutes. That's too long.
And that clears it all up then, doesn't it?
I'm afraid I'm not following.
The prosecution claims that Royal Order teleported himself to the crossroads as soon as he left his house. In other words, at 9:30. Additionally, we've just confirmed that Turning and Scootaloo entered the forest at 9:25. After a 5-minute walk, they would have reached the crossroads at 9:30.
Ooh.
Oh!
Oh, yo, the
In
music.
conclusion,
Ooh.
the victim couldn't have teleported
Damn,
to
the
the
rhythm
crossroads
changed for
immediately after
the
leaving his
music.
house,
Wow, that was
because if he
that was
did,
really cool.
he would have appeared right in front of the defendants.
Objection!
I mean, but like, they could have stopped. They could have slowed down. The defendants could have maybe ran or like sped up and get or maybe like they're in the right spot, the right time. It's just that, you know, Royal Order could have teleported, you know, at the crossroads, but I don't know, the Phillies were like 5 feet ahead or something. I don't know. Wait. No, they were all going to the same place. I guess I kind of see what you mean, actually. I don't know.
Very impressive, Golden Pixie. You've proven that Royal Order couldn't have been walking ahead of the defendants. But what's preventing him from having followed behind them? It might mean he was a little late to the meeting, but that alone doesn't make it an impossibility. Unless you have proof to the contrary, Defense?
Is something wrong, Miss Sykes? You look
Come
like
on,
you've come to a
Athena.
terrible realization.
He's right. I have. And you just stood there, taking care of plants the whole time? Weren't you worried about 2 kids going so far into the forest by themselves?
Of course I was. Who wouldn't be? After all, they were in the Everfree. But for
Legend
all
of
that time,
Everfree.
there was no
Down,
sound,
down,
no
down,
easy
down,
On the
down.
path I kept one eye, in case they were turning for another passerby.
I guess no one ever came then?
No one did, neither pony nor foal. I finished my work without seeing a soul.
The contradiction is obvious. But unless I retract my earlier accusation, it won't be credible.
Defense, what have you hit upon?
Bum 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 bum.
This is what Luna meant when she said she'd force me to abandon that theory. The only reason I made it was to remove that damaging testimony from the court's consideration. But now it's coming back to bite us. No, to bite me.
That's the power of murder.
This must have been what Twilight wanted to warn me about.
Maybe I shouldn't
She
have
knew
said
this could
that.
happen.
Well, Golden Pixie? Don't keep me waiting.
Once again, I don't think I have much choice. No, that's not right. Not again.
Again.
This isn't like before.
The second
when I
time.
could have let it go. This time I really have no choice. I have to do this.
Bum 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 bum
And
bum
Luna
bum bum
knows
bum.
If she isn't out for blood, then letting Sakura's testimony stand shouldn't be much of a problem, regardless of how much it hurts our case. At this point, that's what I have to believe. Your Honor,
Yes, Miss Sykes?
before the defense makes its next argument, we would like to retract our accusation of Miss Sakura.
Ooh, sad Tims.
Defense!
But also, actually, no,
Did I
good
hear
Tims.
that right? You wish to retract your accusation?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why, yes. Yes, please. I would also like a McDonald's burger on the side with that.
I'll have you know, Miss Sykes, that I don't take kindly to fruitless accusations.
Was it
I'm
truly
afraid I'll have to
fruitless, though?
hold you in contempt of court as punishment.
Oh, we're gonna end the video on that. Ha, get smoked, idiot.